Hey, so have you ever seen someone and at the moment that you see them, you realize that you haven't seen them in a while? And you realize that you forgot about them, not in the sense of not being able to recognize them at that moment, but you forgot that because you hadn't seen them. And then when you see them, you remember that, oh, wow, where have you been, right? Well, that might sound kind of like a negative thing, forgetting someone, but it's really one of the ways in which our mind is wired. When we constantly have something in front of us, we have a tendency to think about that thing. Like if you've heard a song before and you don't really like the song when you initially hear it, but since it's playing all the time, you find yourself humming it. I heard someone recently speak about this in reference to the It's a Small World song at Disneyland, and how they didn't want to remember the song, but because they were on the ride, they remembered it. Well, this is something that we can use to our benefit when it comes to us wanting to change our habits. I remember when at one point I was changing what I was eating, and I was limiting the amount of carbs that I had. And my body wasn't happy about it, and my mind probably wasn't that happy about it, but my body really wasn't happy about it. It was used to having a high amount of carbohydrates, complex carbs, crackers, breads, all of these things. And I noticed things around me. I realized that the day was so much more enjoyable when I didn't crave those things. I remember going to the grocery store and walking past the aisle really fast because I didn't want to smell the scent of the bread, which used to make me want it, or draw me towards it, or give me the desire to want to eat it, in which I had to resist it. And that whole idea of not having something that you want or you're used to having is not pleasurable in that moment. So I realized that it's a lot better to, and a lot easier to not eat something when you're not craving it. And this is where the out of sight, out of mind can really help. And it has helped me tremendously when it came to changing my eating habits. I remember when I would get the advertisements, and it really comes down to, let me say this, it really comes down to paying attention to yourself and being honest. I realized that I was tempted to see a pizza advertisement, um, a sale advertisement, that was a temptation for me. So I would immediately, when I've got the sales papers, I didn't want that lingering around when it was time for me to get something to eat, and I start thinking, well, maybe just this one time. I also realized that when I had the one time, that my body wanted multiple times after that. What you give your body is what your body is going to want. And so not having it around, not having to look at it or smell it was really helpful. Even if there's something you're used to eating and you drive past it, that can bring out that, drawing to that thing, because you have a emotional, physical, but many times the emotional is stronger. That feeling that you get from driving to the place. I mean, all of it is like this ritual that our body gets used to and is having immediate gratification or responses from. And when we're aware of these things, and what happens is we can then cut these things off or put up roadblocks, I like to call them, or barriers, I guess I should say, to help us to go in the direction that we want to go. I mean, if you're driving, for example, and one street or road is cut off, you don't go up that road. And so in a sense, what I did was to help myself to do that. One of the things was to have it out of sight, when it came to advertisements. Oh, it's a discount, and, I'm a budget person. So it's like, well, it's cheaper. So I knew that was one thing that would have kind of, moved me to want to get this because it's less expensive. I'll get this, even though it's not ideal or what I know I should have, I'm going to get this because it's less expensive. So since I knew I had that tendency, then I removed the temptation. I would immediately take the advertisements and throw them away. Immediately. I wouldn't bring them in the house and put them in the coupon drawer or anything like that. Threw them away. Went through it, threw away what I didn't need. I didn't hold on to it. And that helped tremendously. I didn't go to the grocery store, and you've heard this one, while I was hungry and then just thought I was going to pass by some Vandy Caps and be okay. No. Now it really smells to me now. Like the things that I thought smelled good before, they smell. Like I can smell the bad oils and stuff in it, and your body will do that, which is what's so awesome, is that your body will crave what it really needs if you will take away the substitute, the garbage food. But this whole idea of out of sight, out of mind does really work. And that's the tip for you today. If you know that there's something that tempts you to go in a particular direction, don't have it in front of your face. I remember I had this one person comes to mind, and they like to, they would cook, and cooking is great. But when you're used to cooking unhealthy garbage food, then that's not going to benefit you. And so if you're saying, oh, well, I'm just going to, for fun, go to this cooking class. At the cooking class, they're cooking foods that are counterproductive to your goal. That doesn't make sense, especially when you have a long history behind, you have a long history with not having self-control. Or you have a long history of eating this particular thing, of not being able to tell your body what it should eat, just going along with what's been placed in front of it. When you have those type of habits, if you're honest with yourself, don't put yourself in those situations. Don't go say, oh, I'm just going to go drop by my friend's house, and your friend is always buying pizza and having drinks and all sorts of unhealthy habits. Don't say, oh, I was just going to go see my friend. No, you were going to go get whatever it is that your friend always have, that you have a tendency to also fall into. So out of sight, out of mind is one of the help you. So remove those things from your sight. Communicate with the people that are typically the ones that tempt you, and typically it's a lot of times it's not intentional, it's just their habit. Tell those individuals, this is really important to me. Don't just leave it there and you know that they're going to tempt you in that direction and say, oh, well, I didn't want to offend them. No, you just wanted to eat that particular food. Communicate with the people around you. Also, remove the temptation, like I did, the advertisements. I didn't engage in long conversations with individuals about foods that I don't want to eat because of my health goals. So remove those temptations. Don't go to the store, moms, parents. Don't say you're buying it for the children, because really garbage food is for no one. So don't go buy the food and put it in your cabinet and say, oh, I was just going through to have it for my children. No, you're going to get some of those fries from McDonald's if you go through the drive-thru or wherever it is that you like to go. So remove the temptation. Remove the temptation from yourself. And then you'll give your body a chance to actually start to crave the things that it actually needs. You give your body the opportunity to think on other things instead of always having the thought of these unhealthy foods on your mind. So that's what I wanted to give you today. Out of sight, out of mind. Thank you for listening to me. I'll talk to you soon with some more fit tips.